up by Green. Throws it back up top. James puts up the three. Oh, it's good! LeBron James from downtown.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of 3 Guys One Mic. I'm Aaron, joined by my co-host
William.
And we're going to bring you part 2 of our NFL division standings. And this time the regions are going to be the AFC South and the NFC South.
Okay.
So I'm going to start off with my fourth in the AFC South.
Okay.
This should be a no-brainer. The Houston Texans. A team that is simply in the gutter right now. The way they're handling the Deshaun Watson situation is just... I'm not really sure how to take that. All the outside noise and the inside stuff that's going on with the head coaching hiring. I believe he was a running back coach, if I'm not mistaken. Him just wanting to be out of there completely due to the fact how they treated him and got rid of his best players and the players he thought he had a chance to win a Super Bowl with. I see this team as a lottery pick for the next at least 3-4 years. Deshaun Watson there or not. I mean, the only thing they have going for them is him and Brandon Cooks. That duo is going to be the only thing that win them games this year, and their defense is just shot to hell. I mean, this team's just in the gutter. I don't really know what's going to get them out.
Well, for my fourth team, I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And again, I do think that both teams, as Little Man named the Texans and the Jaguars, I don't think they're going to be good by any means. I don't think they're going to be good for years to come. Just being honest, I do think they have good players. I just don't think the Jaguars are going to be good this year. It's not disrespectful. I just don't think the Jaguars are going to be good for years to come. And that doesn't mean that they don't have good players in it. I think drafting Trevor Lawrence is step number one. You get a franchise quarterback. I think he's a walking highlight reel. I think he's going to obviously get a bunch of media attention, especially with his ability to extend the play. I think when you add Marvin Jones, DJ Chark, I think Tim Tebow, no one really knows what's going to happen with that. But I mean, hey, as long as...
I think he's going to make the team.
No, I know he's going to make the team, but I'm not too sure about what kind of role he's going to have. We know he's trying out for tight end. We know he's playing tight end, but they're also saying that he wants to try out for a quarterback. They're going to rotate him in and stuff like that. I just think it's going to be a lot of head-scratching things. I think James Robinson is a very good running back, but you kind of negate that by drafting Travis Etienne, which doesn't really make sense to me. And I know he's trying to play wide receiver. I just think that right now it's kind of like they're just getting everything together. I don't think this year they're going to be a good team. So yeah, I think Urban Meyer, he's used to this, obviously his first year. I think that transition from college to head coach to NFL head coach is going to be somewhat difficult for him. And I do think that they're gonna be competitive in some games, but I just don't think they're gonna be that team to at least finish third. So you go ahead with your third team.
So 3, I have the Jags. I think they're gonna be a really interesting team, and with how much young players they have on the defensive side with Josh Allen, Devon Chasen, C.J. Henderson, who might get traded. I'm not sure about that, how that's going. And with the offensive side, like how you were saying, Trevor Lawrence gets Travis Etienne. James Robinson's coming back from his phenomenal rookie season. Marvin Jones, DJ Chark. They got rid of Keelan Cole, which I didn't really like, but I still think they have a talented offense. And this is another team like the Jets. They're not built for now, but they're built for years to come. But I still don't think that they're the worst team in their division, which obviously has to be the Houston Texans.
I disagree with you. Go ahead, Lloyd.
Alright, that's what we do though. We disagree. It's fine. Well, that's who I have in my third spot.
Okay. Well, the reason why I have the Texans in my third spot, and simply this isn't saying a lot, being honest. The difference between the Texans and the Jaguars isn't that drastic. But I'm saying when you have Deshaun Watson, again, there's a lot of outside noise, but he is going to play this year. A lot of outside noise, we don't know what's going to happen with that yet. But assuming that he plays all the games this year, he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL when it comes to talent. And I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. I think he's going to win them some games. I think he's going to win more games than the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you look at how many players that they added in the offseason, it's way too many to add in one video. But they added a lot of players in the offseason. And I think it's a lot of, below average to average players. But I still think that you're getting some depth with those players. And I still think that they're going to be a better team than the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I might be willing to bet on that.
I don't think... Let's bet on it. What do you want to bet?
Off camera.
Off camera?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll let you guys know if you guys care. But... Okay, go ahead with your second team.
Second team, this is kind of hard. I have the Indianapolis Colts.
You're so biased.
I don't. What?
Because you hate Carson Wentz. Go ahead.
No. It's simply because of that. I have them at 2 because I don't know how long he's gonna be out. I think he has the potential to carry this team far in the long run, take over this division, win them a Super Bowl possibly because he has the right coach to do it. It's the coach who was there for his MVP year, Frank Wright. I love the defensive side. Darius Leonard is an absolute dog. Kenny Moore, all that young defensive talent over there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just hard to put him at 2 because I just don't know if their backup is able to do all the stuff that Wentz is. I mean, we've all seen Wentz when he's healthy. He's slingshot, runner. He can do it. He can do it all, really.
Is that it? Okay. I agree with Little Man. I agree with Little Man. I have the Colts as my number 2 team, and I think with
that's biased. It's because you hate Carson Wentz for leaving.
No, it's because unlike our co-host Jeremiah Wimmer, I have unbiased opinions, and I think Carson Wentz at full strength is phenomenal, as Little Man was saying, and I think with him in a new situation like Indianapolis, I think he's gonna flourish. But the sad reality is that how long is he gonna stay healthy for? And again, seeing this 1 week in training camp, he already got hurt, and I do think they said he's back on track to play for week 1, and it just sucks that he had 2 years without an injury. And I don't really count the injury against Seattle in the playoffs because I feel like that didn't have to do with his body. He got hit on the cold turf in his head, so I don't count that as an injury. And he had a tough time with Doug Peterson, a lot of locker room noise and stuff. But I think reuniting with your old offensive coordinator Frank Reich was going to help him tremendously. But just the fact that they already got off to a bad start, and their first 5 games are against really tough opponents. I think you have the Ravens, you have the Seahawks, you have teams like that. So I think it's going to be hard for them to get off to a good start. And I think Carson Wentz, if he would have stayed healthy, or if he didn't get hurt at all this year, obviously it helps the Philadelphia Eagles because we get a first-round pick out of it. But I do think that they finished number 1. Well, I'm just saying we get a number 1 pick, but I do think that the Colts finished number 1 if Carson Wentz got
something else.
And not to mention that one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL, Quentin Nelson, also got hurt with the same injury.
Oh, yeah.
So I think, you're just getting off to a bad start here. And I think the Titans, you can go ahead with your Titans pick.
Oh, yeah. I have them at 1. Simply because of the fact of Carson Wentz getting injured, I still think that the Colts still would have took this division for sure. Mm-hmm. But now that happened, Titans have the upper hand. With a monster trio of Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones, and probably one of the most underrated quarterbacks we have in this league. But the biggest question they have, and I feel like they're a team like the Chiefs, is with their defense. They can have all this star power on offense, but that's the only thing that'll help them win the games. Like, is their defense going to get a stop? Because I like Caleb Farley, don't get me wrong, but he's another person with history and injuries. Before he got drafted, he had a back problem. But I just think that's their only Achilles heel is the defense this year. I still think that trio can win them games. I just don't see them winning a Super Bowl. I'll go as far as the divisional playoff.
I think I agree with you. The Titans are the number 1 team in this division, and I think that this team is somewhat overrated. I don't think they're going to be bad by any means, but I think when people see the addition of Julio Jones, they just automatically think Super Bowl. And I don't even think that they're the most complete team in their division. I think the Colts are still the most complete team with that defense.
I agree.
And I just think that I think one thing that was good about this Julio Jones trade is that you filled a big hole. And that was, if you look in the playoff wildcard game last year, when Derrick Henry, you're pretty much all your offense gets shut down to 40 yards against the Ravens, I think you saw that their passing game wasn't as fluid and it wasn't as good as it could be. Mm-hmm. You get Ryan Tannehill, 2 big body receivers in A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. I really find it hard for you to stop this.
He technically has 3 because they did get Josh Reynolds, who's like 6'3",
oh, he
6'2",
did?
yeah.
Okay, I know about that. So they have apparently just a big offense. Everyone there's big. You get Taylor Lewan back, who also missed a lot of last year. So I think this offense is going to be really good. But again, their defense, they're kind of shaky. But if they form that bend but don't break defense, which is kind of the thing in the NFL now, you don't really have to be that team that just stops people, that just dominates people. But if you just don't allow the points, I think it's a recipe for success. And yeah, so I do think it's going to be really tight between the Colts and the Titans. I think the Colts could catch up. But just right now, the Titans definitely have the upper hand. And I think that Julio Jones trade was a big one, but they still have holes in their team.
And if I'm being honest, I don't think I'm set in stone on this pick.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I think the Colts defense can keep them in it and make a playoff run.
Yeah, and if you look at it, the Colts team is pretty much the exact same team, except you get a more talented Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was that quarterback last year, right? But he didn't extend the play. Listen to me. Phillip Rivers was their quarterback last year, but he couldn't extend plays like Carson Wentz could. So I think if Carson Wentz stays healthy, I think you pretty much get Carson Wentz who could extend plays. And
I wouldn't go as far as saying more talented. I'd say more mobile. then.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, when you look at the film, Carson Wentz is a more talented quarterback because he runs around more mobile.
Yeah.
I get you. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and go to the NFC South.
I'll let you start off this one.
Okay,
Give me who you think goes in last in that division, which should be pretty obvious. Please don't say someone else. If it's not this team, I'm gonna hit you.
With the fourth team in the NFC South, I have the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, we agreed on that one. All right, I think it was a really good draft pick to draft Kyle Pitts, especially when you lose a player like Julio Jones. I think that's gonna hurt them a lot. But you get Kyle Pitts, who's a once-in-a-generation talent at tight end. I think your new head coach is going to struggle his first year, especially in that division when you have the Buccaneers, you have the Panthers who are getting better, you have the Saints who, I mean, they technically got worse, but I still think they're going to still be a good team. So yeah, I just don't see much with this Atlanta Falcons team. And again, Atlanta hasn't had a history of being a good team consistently in all their sports. And I just think that, and I just don't think that Atlanta has enough on paper to do anything in this division.
Short and simple, pretty much how my answer was going to be. This is the last ride for Matty Ice this season. It's going to be tough to watch, I'll be honest, because he's probably one of the toughest quarterbacks and most underrated quarterbacks I've seen. So growing up, he's been there, so it's going to be hard, but I think it's the rebuild button. It's time for a rebuild in Atlanta.
Yeah.
The only thing they have going for him is Calvin Ridley. I mean, you build around him. I thought they should have drafted a quarterback this year. I thought that's where Fields was going to end up. But yeah, they're going to be last, and I just think it's rebuild button.
Yeah. Now, my number 3 team, I think it's the Carolina Panthers. I think when you get Sam Darnold, who I've been kind of high on Sam Darnold. I think when you're on a team like the Jets, I think it's really hard for you to succeed, for you to flourish, especially when you have lack of weapons.
You say you've been high on him?
Yeah, I've been high on him. What are you looking for?
For your USC jersey.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, it's not because he went to USC. It's because I just think he's a really good quarterback, just in a bad situation. And I think him on a team with Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, David Moore, you're gonna have a lot of weapons.
David Moore.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's on
David
there now.
Moore for the You add a lot of weapons for him. I think they're gonna be a really good team this year.
Oh, Robbie Anderson too, huh?
Robbie Anderson again, who had a breakout year last year and had a career year last year. Yeah, so I just see them as a good team. I think they're going to be really competitive. You also draft J.C. Horn, who's a really good cornerback, debatably the number 1 quarterback in the draft last year. So I do think this team's going to be improved. I just don't think they're going to be as good as the top 2 teams, but I do think they're going to be competitive and win some games this year.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think this team has a lot going for them. And I believe once Tom Brady is finally retired, whenever the hell that is, I think that'll be the team to be in that division. And I think building around J.C. Horn and Shaq Thompson and the defensive lineman, who I can't really think of his name just yet, the one they drafted from Auburn. I think his name's Derek Thomas. He's there. That's going to be a really good young core to watch. And I'm excited to watch them this year. I'll for sure have their games on.
Yeah, they're going to be a fun team to watch this year. Now, my number 2 team, I have to go with the New Orleans Saints. And I think that, obviously, with the retirement of Drew Brees, you're taking a step back. Some people may see it as a step forward, but I still think that losing Drew Brees is going to hurt you. Not only in that locker room, but he was just a staple for that city. And it's going to be weird seeing, Drew Brees not play for not seeing Drew Brees play for the New Orleans Saints. And this has to be said, but I really think the Taysom Hill signing is one of the worst contracts I've ever seen in my life. You signed Taysom Hill to $140 million for 4 years for a quarterback who doesn't really do quarterback things. I mean, he's a good gadget guy, but giving that money to a gadget guy, it doesn't make sense to me. Especially when you have Jameis Winston, who I think could be a better quarterback, and you're not paying someone $140 million to sit on the bench and not play quarterback for you. So I think it sucks for Jameis Winston. Even though if he does start, I think it's going to be good for him to be starting for that team. But then again, you're paying a guy $140 million, so it doesn't make sense to me why they would offer Taysom with that much money. And then a lot of off-field drama with Michael Thomas, subliminal tweets, Sean Payne saying that he hasn't talked through social media, whatever he said. There's just a lot of things going on. I think Alvin Kamara is still going to be that top running back. He's still going to, be the reliable guy for Jameis Winston. Whoever's starting at quarterback, he's going to be the reliable guy. I'm going to ask you, who do you think should be starting for the Saints?
Oh, I think, to me, it's obvious. Jameis Winston.
Okay.
He has the most talented arm. I know he had those terrible years in the Buccaneers, but I think Sean Payton can do the opposite of that, the total opposite.
And I think he has an element that was missing for this team, and that's the deep ball. I love Drew Brees to death, but his arm was, he was getting older. His
all
arm
those,
wasn't
all
as
those
strong.
injuries were for sure catching up.
Yeah, they were for sure catching up to him, and I think Jameis Winston, sitting a year out, getting rest, he's going to be healthy. I think that he's going to add another element to that offense. But yeah, this team, just that Taysom Hill signing was head-scratching.
Yeah, I'm going to make this switch on camera right now. I had the Panthers at 2, but I'm going to go ahead and switch them for the Saints.
Okay.
Simply because people are forgetting how deadly this defense is. This defense is top. I think they've been top 10 for the past 5 years now, and counting. I think Jameis Winston should be the starting quarterback because, like you said, Taysom Hill doesn't really do quarterback things. He's kind of like a Matt Slater for the Patriots, except Matt Slater doesn't throw the ball. He doesn't act as quarterback.
Yeah, or getting paid $140 million.
Or getting paid $140 million. But yeah, as long as Alvin Kamara's there and Michael Thomas, I still think that offense can do unimaginable things. But that defense as well. They've carried them through a lot, especially with last year, Drew Brees' injuries. That defense got them to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it just sucks for this team because they're playing against the Buccaneers twice a year.
Exactly.
Yeah, and again, let's not forget that O-line is also phenomenal. A top 10 O-line.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Ramczyk, Armstead.
But I think that the Buccaneers is a no-brainer. The number one team, not only in this division, but in the NFL. I think that when you keep every starter from a Super Bowl squad, which is really rare, especially when you're considering a team. Usually when teams win Super Bowls, players want to seek out bigger roles, bigger contracts somewhere else.
Exactly.
And to bring back all of them and all that, have them all have the same mentality and just be back on board to win another Super Bowl, especially with that mindset from Bruce Arians, this team is actually scary. Like, it's scary, especially when you have Tom Brady. Tom Brady, we're not used to seeing this much of him in the media, right? And that's because he's been with the Patriots for so long. That's not really their style. But you see how he really is. You hear all the locker room talk, all the stories coming out about him. Tom Brady is a phenomenal leader, and he's also, I think he had a really underrated year last year, especially tearing his MCL, playing the entire year, and no one really, he had 40 touchdowns last year?
Somewhere around there.
I think he had
38.
He had somewhere around there, and people were talking about him like he was having a down year. They were talking about him like he wasn't a top quarterback. Yeah, so I think Tom Brady, obviously he's getting a year older, but I don't think he's gonna miss a step, especially when you tear a ligament in your knee. I think he's gonna be still have another great year, and this team isn't gonna miss a step. They're gonna be the team to beat all year.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I think it's pretty obvious that this team should repeat. Anything other than a Super Bowl this year should be just a failure in my eyes. Bruce Arians is I think he's the perfect head coach. If Tom Brady had him his whole career, I feel like it'd play out the same way.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. They bring back everybody, including Leonard Fournette, Shaq Barrett, that tenacious D-line. Everybody in that secondary is only going to get better because they're all young guys. And we all saw what they did to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It's absolutely shut them down. It's going to be scary, especially because of the fact that this is the team that the Cowboys have to play Week 1. So I'm just going to be excited because it's going to be a good test.
Oh, it's going to be a really good test, yeah. So yeah, I think that concludes it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys agree with any of our listings, any of our standards, I think this is a more interesting episode, especially because these teams, this mix of teams was...
And this isn't even the hardest one. This isn't even the hardest region.
Yeah. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. If there's anything you agree with us on, make sure you tell us. If there's anything you disagree with, make sure you tell us. And like and share. Anything else, Logan?
Thank you for watching. This is one of the most interesting episodes. As soon as the fucking camera turns off, I didn't like this episode. You want to redo it?